to stead. Now he runs. He produces a magic print. He pulls out another one. This is incredible. This is ridiculous. This is 15 out of 10 on the incredible meter. What a player. What an entertainer. Give him the medal. Give him the Delier medal.
Hello, footy fans, and welcome back to the Chip and Chase podcast. We're here back for a Wednesday, our round review for round 6 of the NRL Supercoach season. Looking forward ahead to round 7 as well. We're riding quite high right now, not just because of our ranks, but because the Warriors have just announced the signing of James Fisher-Harris on a 4-year deal from 2025 onwards. So we're feeling pretty happy now as a Wales fan myself, pretty happy about that. But we're here to talk some Supercoach. If you're listening on an audio platform, please head over to the YouTube channel. We've got the face cam going. We've got the visual format, got the footy stuff up on the screen, the stats, how my team went. So if you want to engage with that or you just want to, connect a bit more with me, head over to the YouTube. That's where this one will be. We also had some technical issues last week, which led to this podcast not getting put out on audio platforms. So the only place to see this one was the YouTube. Hopefully that won't be the case this week, and we will just be able to post it across all of the platforms, audio and video alike. But once again, wherever you're tuning in, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll get right into it. So as you can see on the screen, if you're watching this one on YouTube, we ended up with a score of 1,243 for round 6, ranked us in the top 8%. Really happy with that. We're building really nicely. I'm so happy with how my squad is going. So that one put us up 7,985 ranks, up into a season rank of 12,012. So pretty darn happy, just outside the top 10K. Which is fine. Look, early season, you're happy to be a bit further out because you know that you've got a strong side, a lot of cash building, everything going well, which I think is happening with my side. I'm really happy with how that's all transpiring there. So, yeah, not quite in the top 10K and, not top 1,000 or anything yet, which is the goal. We'd like to, the goal is to win, but top 1,000, top 1%, around that mark is where we want to be as a pretty professional. Professional is not the word, but, someone who takes this quite seriously, who takes their Supercoach quite seriously, their footy quite seriously. And as a content creator for you guys, I want to be doing well. So the information I can provide, the stats and intel that I can give is reliable for you guys. And, you can improve off the back of that. So at the moment, just outside that top 10K, really happy with that. As I said, we'll continue to move up, and a score of 1,243, pretty good. I think 1,200, 1,300s were really good this week. If you got 1,400, you're incredible. But just a lot of things went right this week. Not so much went wrong as of last week where we had a few things go wrong, but we'll get straight into, I guess, the team wrap up and how it all transpired. So you can see that on the screen there, all of my stats for those listening. I'll read through them. Starting with the hookers, Brandon Smith, he scored me 84 points. Another try for Brandon Smith, really good. He looks exceptional. He does look really good from a footy standpoint this year. Supercoach has been a bit hit or miss. There's been 30s, there's been 40s, but every now and then you get this sort of 84. Actually, this is his highest score of the season, so it's not every now and then, but I'm hoping it's a bit more frequently from now on. I'm looking to probably run him as my second hooker for the remainder of the season. For now, he's definitely sitting pretty as my number one option, and I'll look to upgrade Joey Lussick in a bit. While we're on Joey Lussick, 72 points from him on the bench. Saying last week that he's sort of hit his peak and it's time to sell. Well, 72, that has helped him out immensely. Didn't play him, so I didn't score that, which is fine. But it's put the break even back down to, what is that break even at? 17. So he's looking to make a little bit more cash, and then maybe in a week or two we'll look to move him on to someone like Harry Grant or Wade Egan, who you guys know I'm quite huge on. Moving into the front row department, Terrell May, massive bounce back from his 21-point game last week, 86 from him, massive minutes. I think he played about 56 minutes straight off the bench. So really happy with his 86 score. Everyone should be quite happy with an 86 score, no matter who it's from. But to get that in the front row department, really good stuff there. Unfortunately, the front row partner that I've had with him, Tavita Totola, he went down with an injury, so 7 points from Tavita. I forgot about that. So I guess there was something that went wrong with my side, and I still scored 1243 or whatever it was. So really, now that I've remembered that is quite crazy. 7 points from Tavita Totola. It makes trade plans a bit easier this week. We're probably going to be looking to move someone like Bo Famore on or Morgan Smithy, someone like that. But Tavita Totola going down makes it all a bit easier for me. So we'll get to that. But yeah, 7 points, quite unfortunate. You can't be too disappointed because stuff like that happens. Injuries happen. On the bench, Sam Hughes, 33. Not the best, but again, it's fine for Cash Gen. He's got a break even of -13. So he's going to keep going up in price. Viliami Fafita sitting in there as my nuff. So nothing from him, but that is fine. In the second row department, Jack DeBellin, who we did a late switch to Jack DeBellin from Angus Crichton. We had Angus Crichton as one of our trades, and then before the game, I'm like, you know what? Let's give Crichton another week just to make sure that he is going to lock down the 80-minute position, and we'll go Jack DeBellin, one of my pod shouts who I was really keen on. Not the best in hindsight, Angus Crichton played the 480 and scored really, really well. Jack DeBellin scored his lowest score of, I think, the season with a 53. It's not an awful score. It's not bad at all. It's not like a complete waste of a trade. I think he's just going to be a good plotter to sit in there. Maybe for the season, who knows? But for now, 53, not the best, but hey, we'll take it. It's not bad at all. Josh Curran, he scored 64 for us this week. Still using him in our second row department. Look, there's actually not too many gun second rowers out there. You can look at your Eli Katoas and Dave Fafitas, but they've all got problems. Like Katoa scored 42 last week or something like that. Fafita not playing 80, still really high priced and in a pretty shocking Titans team. It's quite tough to, really flip over to him. So Curran scoring 64 in my second row. Happy for that. Kai Pearce-Paul, 82. We've been waiting for some attacking stats. We knew they were in him. He came up with them big in this game. Really happy with that 82 points. Didn't quite get the try that I tipped him for, but I'm not sure if he actually got the try assist for the Bradman Best try, but he did all the hard work, the line break, the tackle breaks, the offload, the try contribution, etc. So really happy with an 82. On the bench, Beau Fermor, we kept him in the squad again, 71 points. So now he's also got to have a pretty low break even, 13 break even. So honestly, he's going to make even more cash. He'll stay in for another week or two. Not sure I'll play him. Of course, those stats are enhanced by the fact that the Titans played essentially 90 minutes against the Raiders, and he played all 90 of those minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So 71 points, really good for Cash Gen. Didn't play it, but that's fine. Morgan Smithy, 68. He's plodding along incredibly well. I think I'm just going to sit him there for a long time, to be honest. Maybe even for the sort of buy rounds. He's just good to have in there as solid points as a backup if any of my second rows go down. 68, once again, didn't play that, but hey, we get that. Joe Chan, we'll get to it. Quite exciting. Obviously didn't play once again, hasn't played since round 2, so we haven't got any price rises out of him, but has been named this week for the Storm, so we might finally get that long-awaited price rise out of Joe Chan. In the halves department, we did end up captaining Nico Hines. He scored 82, which is a decent captain score. Not too upset with that. Doubled to 164, so not an awful captain score at all. Luke Brooks, 49 as my reserve. It's not great, but it's not the worst. It was up against the Warriors, so I expected less, to be honest. He did come up with some attacking stats, and then he also threw... He had a try assist to Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, if that one counted. But yeah, 49, not the best. Obviously going to keep him weak. We've actually been saved a little bit. I was obviously going to trade him to Nathan Cleary if Nathan Cleary was named against the Tigers. And we're back, sorry. Had to get that sneeze out off camera. Luke Brooks was going to trade him to Nathan Cleary this week if he was back, but thank God he's not, because I really wanted to hold Luke Brooks for this Tigers matchup. And also, if that was the case, I was going to have to boost this week, which I don't have to now. So now I get a whole nother boost, and hopefully we can move on to Cleary next week, and we get Brooks for this Titans game. But 49 for last week's performance, not the best, but hey, we move on. Dylan Brown, he upgraded significantly, 86 points. Look, we've held on to Dylan Brown. There haven't been too many second row, 5/8 options that have been standing out. So he's just been sitting in there doing his thing. 86 is his highest score of the season. Happy for that. Really happy for that. Lachlan Galvin obviously still suspended. Didn't play. No points from him. Into the center wing department. Valentine Holmes, he scored 73. Scored another try. 73 points. Really good. We'll take it. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, 50 points. Again, no attacking stats. That's all base, but it also was a 90-minute long game. So a little bit enhanced, but hey, 50 points in my center wing from base. We're taking that every day of the week. Jesse Ramian, similar story there. 53 points from him in base, and his game didn't go for 90 minutes. So, that's all just from the from the 80 minutes game against the Rabbitohs last week. Happy with that. Hopefully there's attacking stats coming. I really believe in him. He's averaging so well for someone who scored 1 try this season. So I just believe in him. I really do. I'm going to hold him there. James Schiller, we ended up playing 69 points. That was a double he scored as well. So not fantastic, but 69 points is still 69 points at face value and incredible cash generation. He made how much? 155.7k. He's got a minus 60 break even. He's expected to make another 100k and just continue to make incredible money. So, hey, 69 points, as I said, face value, just the number, really happy with it. And he's going to keep making that money. Jack Bostock, we played. He scored 53. I think there was another try in that. I think so. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. Not the best. Definitely a viable trade out option this week. I think with everything that I'm doing, I probably won't. I'll hold him for one more week. Hopefully get some attacking stats out of him this week. Who have they got? They've got the Eels. There's potential there. I don't have the most hope, but I don't think he'll drop too much in price regardless. But he could be a trade-out target for a lot of clubs. I understand that. For me, 53 points. I'm happy to take that for the team, and we'll give him one more week. Ethan Strange, 83. I learned from my mistakes of not playing him the week before, and he scored us some insane junk time points. That was the story of my week. Junk time stats from Ethan Strange, who got up to 83. There was another one who I can't recall who killed it. Might have been Nico Hines who came up with some junk time. Regardless, yeah. Oh, Kalen Ponga, junk time, line break, etc. Lots of stuff for me. Oh, bloody Terrell May had a try assist right at the end of the game too. So just lots of points that came at the end. For those of you who don't know what junk time is, it is just points that come at the end when the result doesn't really matter. And that was the case for a few of my players. Ethan Strange, his junk time points came in the form of a big line break in the last the last minute of extra time where, he made that line break and the Raiders went on to win the game. So 83 points, exceptional. Blaze Talangi obviously didn't play. My fullbacks, Kalen Ponga, 91 points. My vice captain did not loop him, which I think I'm fine for. No, should have looped him. I would have got 33 from Sam Hughes. But look, it's not that deep. It's really not. There's a 9-point difference, 18-point difference, and then what I lose 11 points if I took the reserve off Luke Brooks and put it on, and got Sam Hughes. So yeah. I'm not sure actually. I would have lost to. Regardless, it didn't happen. We're not going to worry too much about that. Again, I'm happy with the score. I'm not going to loop a 91. I want hundreds plus to loop. Charles Nickel Klukstad, our signing of the week. He scored 96. No try assists, I don't but think so. So I'm pretty sure that was like all base. Insane. I'm really, really happy with the purchase. Obviously, I was tempted to put him into my pods of the week this week, but the reason I didn't is because when looking at pods, you're looking at players that you want to trade out, and there's not any fullbacks that you're going to want to trade out for Charles Nickel Klukstad. I was forced to by James Tedesco going down injured, so I moved to Chans as my pod, and I'm really, really happy for that. But if you're in a boat that you're holding a Ponga or a Trebojevic, Drinkwater, any of these players, even Pappenhausen, etc., you're not going to want to trade any of them to a Charles Nickel Klukstad. So he's going to remain at this, 0%, 2% he's gone up to. He was in 0% of teams last round. He's going to remain extremely low owned. I think he's going to go on an insane run, and I'm so happy to be one of the very few owners of him. But that is how our team shaped up for round 6 of the season. So we move sort of into our team list news, which is why I'm looking over here. Once again, got that all up over here so we can rattle that off for you guys. So just starting with the first game of round 7, that is the Roosters taking on the Storm. In terms of team list news, Tedesco, of course, he is back from concussion. He moves to fullback. So Joey Manu back to the centres, which means Suoli'i back to the wing and Junior Ponga out. So tough for Joey Manu, but everyone sort of knew that was happening. If you went on Joey Manu, you knew it was for that 1 week play of fullback, and then you've got a tough couple matchups, and he's back at centre. So I don't have much sympathy for you guys, and it could still work out for you. But yeah, James Tedesco, he's back. Tupanua is sidelined, so Egan Butcher comes onto the bench. Sam Walker still missing the side. For the Storm, Nelson Asafa Solomona comes in at front row. Tui Kamikamica, he is out with a calf injury. So yeah, Nas gets his first run of the season and at starting front row. But the big news for Supercoach, as I said, Joe Chan, he's been named on the bench. Tepai Moreau was out with a back injury. So Joe Chan probably won't get too many minutes, but hey, minutes regardless is just a cash rise. And I'm happy for any sort of cash rise. Hopefully we can move him on sooner rather than later. But regardless, just any cash rise is good. So good stuff for us super coaches. For Joe Chan. For the Dragons, Zach Lomax has been moved to the centres with Christian Tuipulotu coming onto the wing in the place of, who was the winger? Who was there? No, sorry. They missed the centre. Jack Bird is out with a HIA. So, yeah, that moves Lomax into the centres and Tuipulotu onto the wing. Besides that, not much else happening for the Dragons. For the Warriors, there's not a whole lot happening here either. The only news is that Jazz Tavanga is out of the side with an injury. Adam Pompey has been named at jersey 17. I'd suspect that to change. I am hearing whispers around the club that Zion Mayu, regardless, he's a front row. He's a gun front row. If you watch the Warriors lowest grades, like I try to do as a Warriors fan, absolute gun. He's a very powerful player. I'm hearing whispers he's going to make his debut this week. So Adam Pompey named at 17. I wouldn't expect it to stay that way, especially because Adam Pompey has also been named at centre for New South Wales Cup. So I can't imagine he's going New South Wales Cup, then straight back into first grade. I think Zion will make his debut. So take that at face value. But at the moment, Adam Pompey is named at 17. And it's just reports, guys. He may still line up at 17. I just don't think that will be the case. But those are the only changes for the Dragons and the Warriors. For the Eels and the Dolphins, of course, Dejan Arce is still at 6, but Blaze Talangi has been named on the interchange. Now, while the Joe Chan naming on the interchange is good, I don't think this is particularly good for super coaches. I'll be looking to trade Blaze Talangi now. I was going to hold him for a week. I don't want him on the bench. It could prove to be a master stroke. You know, if anybody gets injured in that back line, he comes in, he plays big minutes. That is a potential, and if that happens, I'm just going to have to cop that. But if not, he's going to play 3 minutes at the end of the game and probably lose money, which I'm not here for. So I'll be looking to sell him this week. Those are the only changes for the Eels, though. For the Dolphins, there's a few out there. Obviously, Hamaso Tabuai-Fidow, he's out for like 4 to 6 weeks or something. It could be longer with I think it was the hamstring injury. So Trey Fuller, he comes in at fullback for his first game of the season. Not overly Supercoach relevant. I don't even think he's in the Supercoach app. He could get an extended run there, and he's a bit of a gun. If you've watched any Queensland Cup, he's a freak. He's been killing it there for a long, long time. So he could, you know, become relevant, but I'd assume if he does get added to Supercoach, it will be his fullback only. Hopefully we get centre wing, but I sort of highly doubt that. Regardless, he is named at fullback for the Dolphins. Beyond that, Max Plath comes back in at 13, not overly relevant. Ray Stone back to the bench. Sean O'Sullivan onto the interchange for Anthony Milford, who drops out. Those are the only changes for those sides. The Panthers and the Tigers. Obviously, Panthers coming off the bye, and as we alluded to earlier, Nathan Cleary has not been named. They're going to give him another week, maybe even 2, who knows. Hamstring injuries are quite hard to sort of judge how long it takes. My hair, it's too long. It doesn't sit in place anymore. I need a haircut. But yeah, Nathan Cleary not in the side. Brad Schneider gets another run at halfback. It's going to be fine for the Panthers. I mean, they've been pretty good with Brad Schneider there. Obviously, they did get the loss to Manly before the bye, but I don't think that's necessarily because they played awfully. I think Manly played a really good game of footy. But regardless, they have named Taylor May. There were some rumours floating around that Taylor May was going to get dropped. It hasn't happened, so yeah, don't worry about that. Don't buy into rumours before team lists. Like, I don't know, you can hear all this stuff about team list rumours, but honestly, until team list Tuesday happens, it doesn't matter. Then if the rumours circulate after that, maybe start believing in them and talk to your sources. But yeah, if you're hearing stuff before team list Tuesday, ignore it and wait for team lists because Taylor May has been named. So that's good for super coaches who still own him. I am not one of them. Scott Sorensen has been named in the second row. He replaces Luke Garner, who drops back to the bench. And those are the only changes for the Penrith Panthers. Liam Henry is still on the bench, so he's back from concussion or suspension. Concussion. So Good for him. If you still own him, could potentially make money, especially with the news that James Fisher-Harris is leaving the side. I don't imagine that they're going to decrease his minutes. Not that he's been playing the most minutes so far this season, but he has been dealing with a few niggling injuries. But potentially they use a bit of the early season to get some more minutes into Lindsay Smith and Liam Henry and let them work up, because they're probably going to be the two men most likely to replace him next season. And then later in the season, maybe James Fisher-Harris builds back into his minutes and they go on their premiership run. We'll have to wait and see, but potential there for Liam Henry. For the Tigers, not a whole lot going on here. Brent Naden comes in for his first game of the season for Solomone Fa'atape. Can't imagine too many people owned Fa'atape, but you might have, because he was bottom dollar cheapie. Didn't make too much money. Didn't look overly impressive in the NRL. So Brent Naden, who again hasn't succeeded in his chances in the NRL. He comes in, but maybe he does. Lachlan Galvin, the big one here. He is back from suspension in the 5/8 jersey, so that's fantastic for all us super coaches. Maybe a playable option. I mean, he's been pretty fixture-proof so far this season, but it is against the Penrith Panthers, so who knows? Maybe you're forced to. I'm not sure. Definitely an option. It won't be for me, but we'll look a bit more into that in our Sit v Starts topic. Their forward pack, pretty much the same. John Bateman comes back into the side. Latu Fainu and Samuela Fainu also come in. So Asu Kapoa and Jake Simpkin and Justin Matamua all drop out. Moving on to the Titans and the Seagulls. Some news here. Philip Sammy has been named at fullback for the injured Jaden Campbell. I like it for the Seagulls. For the Titans, Philip Sammy gets through a lot of work. Obviously doesn't have that passing ability, but I think if you've just got that running game, that dynamic tackle busting, meter eating running game from the back, that might be all you need. They might just need to simplify their game plan. AJ Brimson in the halves again at 5/8, really good for their side. Not sure how it fully translates to Supercoach. I think I'd be waiting to see the Titans win a few more games before I start purchasing players. But AJ Brimson, he's an option. Like he's been a proven gun before, so there is that option there. I do like AJ Brimson as a player. The centre wings, not too much there. Harley Smith-Shields, Jojo Fafita. I'm not sure what their prices are at. Maybe options, but again, not looking to buy Titans players until they come good. Dave Fafita, he's named to start, but he was also named to start last week and came off the bench, so who knows? Just touch and go with that one. For the Seagulls, Ruben Garrett comes back from his head knock, and Jason Saab also comes back from, I believe it was a hamstring injury. Either way, it was a leg injury, I'm pretty sure, but he comes in. So it's Jackson Polo, the man to make way. Tommy Talau retains his spot in the side. Not too much happening for the rest of their side. Matthew Lodge, that is a big one. Josh Allier, he's out suspended for the legs hit on Sean Johnson in the dying minutes of the Seagulls-Warriors game. So he's out. Matthew Lodge returns from a ACL injury it was. He returns from his ACL injury, first game of the season, named at number 10, starting front row. Nathan Brown also returns on the bench, but again, not too much super coach relevant there. Just team list changes, to be honest. But that's about it for that one. We move on to the Broncos and the Raiders. Trying to get through these a little bit quicker, because realistically, if you wanted to know team list changes, you can look at my Instagram where I post the main team list changes, or you could look at the NRL website and go through that yourself, which is essentially what I'm doing here. I'm just looking at what's been named, but just putting it in a format for you guys to know. For the Broncos, obviously Reece Walsh, he's still in the squad after last week. I think it's an unchanged team for them. Yes, it is. While the Raiders, Adam Mariota, he comes in at second row for Zach Hosking, the once Supercoach gun for 2-3 weeks there. He's out with probably an extended stint on the sideline with a shoulder injury. So Mariota, he comes into the second row there. Potential, I'm not sure what his price is, but he's front row, second row dual, I think. Maybe he's just front row. But potential, depending on his price. Again, I wouldn't be wasting trades on that. Not for me. The Bulldogs and the Knights. Interesting stuff here. Connor Tracy has been retained at fullback, with Blake Taff getting named at jersey 17. So Taff's back. He's just on the bench, and Tracy has kept the fullback jersey. I love that for the Bulldogs. I really do. Massive Connor Tracy fan. Not sure what it means Supercoach-wise. I don't think you're really looking to buy Tracy, and I'm not sure many people owned Taff either. Bronson Xerri, he's still in the centres, which means Kiraz is back on the wing. Really good for Kiraz. He's better as a winger than a centre, especially Supercoach-wise. Bronson Xerri, very popular option coming into this week, about 345,000. Looked fantastic last week. I assume he keeps that position probably for the season with how he's going. Definitely an option to bring in, but we'll look at that a bit more in depth in the trades department. Sam Hughes, once again, named at starting front row with Chris Patolo, but again, who knows what's going on there. Josh Curran named at jersey 13. For the Knights, not a whole lot. Greg Marju was a late inclusion last week, so he's technically an inclusion this week, which would mention him. Wouldn't be buying him just yet. I mean, you could. It's against the Dogs, but the Dogs haven't been a pushover this season. So, yeah, again, just take that with a grain of salt. But definitely an option sort of down the track with how he's going. Let him lose some cash, and then I'm looking to pick him up in a week or two, hopefully, as well. Beyond that, not much else for the Knights there. So we move into the Sharkies and the Cowboys. Now for the Sharks, Sione Katoa is out suspended, I believe it is. So Samuel Stonestreet comes in to make his NRL debut. So congratulations to Stonestreet. Not really relevant for us super coaches because he's only probably going to be in there for the one game. But yeah, just really good for him. Kayal Iro once again keeps his spot in the centres. So that's a massive win for super coaches. Probably the most purchased player this week, I'd presume, and for good reason, to be honest. Beyond that, not too much for their side. Braden Hamlin-Uele makes his first appearance of the season at prop on the interchange. Sorry, not at prop, but he will be playing as a prop on the off the interchange. For the Cowboys, Sammy Velame, the gun of last season, he comes in on the wing for Murray Talangi, who was out with either a calf or a hamstring injury. Regardless, he's out. So, yeah, Sammy Velame in, and that's it for that one. And that wraps us up for all the team list news for round 7. So we'll move into our trade talks. Now, as we've started doing, as we did last week, we start our trade talks with the pod options. So as we know, again, it's a bit of a segue to my Instagram. If you guys aren't following the Instagram, please go and do so. There's a lot more content coming there, and some content that, you know, you don't need these bloody long videos to engage with to make informed decisions, especially Supercoach wise. So the first of these is our pod. As you can see here on the screen, we have our best buys round 7 point of difference players. So last week we went through and we named Jack DeBellin, Nick Meaney, and Wade Egan. Now, Nick Meaney didn't go fantastic, but again, I still believe in him as a pod purchase for anyone who did pick him up. I think he'll go good over these next couple weeks. Wade Egan did go really well, again, in a 90-minute performance, so minutes inflated, points inflated, and Jack DeBellin, the only one of the pods that I picked up personally, was sort of average. But again, you're buying these pods not for a 1 week player, they're for the season for at least the 5 weeks, which is why we look at their 5 weeks fixtures. This week, we'll be looking at Victor Radley, Cameron Munster, and Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. So as you can see there is Victor Radley, all his points and stuff up there. You guys can read through that of your own will. I'm going to read through the sort of stuff that I've wrote about him on the right-hand side here. So Victor Radley, 596,000 to RF only. I said, coming off a 103 score against the Knights last week, many could see this as chasing last week's points. But in reality, Victor the Inflictor has been putting up some fantastic Supercoach stats so far in 2024. He's played 80 minutes in every game this year, aside from the sin bin affected Bulldogs game, and his lowest score, just 55 points. He's basing 60 across his last 3 games, so he has an elite floor, and between his ball playing and his try scoring attacking stats are no stranger. Definitely a left field pick, but Radley could very well be a keeper in the 2RF this season and a great upgrade option for those looking to sell their peaking mid-range 2RFs. So as I said, for the visual learners, for those watching the YouTube, you can see all this. For those listening, these are all up on the Instagram, so head up over there and you can see what I'm talking about. We've got the ownership, PPM, average, break-even, upcoming opponents, his graph, everything that you need and you want to know when you're purchasing a player in Supercoach. So that's all up on the Instagram, so go check that out at Chip and Chase Podcast. But we'll move on to the second of our pod options, Cameron Munster. So Cameron Munster, 728,000 5/8 only. I've gone and said the 5/8 king is back. We all know Munster is a Supercoach gun. The only reason he makes this list is due to his extremely low ownership. I'm sure at some stage everyone will own him, but if you get the jump on him early, it could be a move to set you apart from the rest of the competition. The Storm's upcoming draw is very appealing, but the best part about Munster is that he is fixture proof, often saving his best games for the tougher competition. 5/8 is a tough position at the moment, so now could be the perfect time to jump on Munster and set yourself up for the rest of the season. Once again, all stats up on screen. But yeah, Munster, just talking a little bit more about him. I mean, we all know he's a Supercoach gun. Everybody wants to own him. In fact, he was in my first draft of the side before, the stuff came out about his injury. So going to set up a bit more. My bad. He was in my first draft of my side. I really wanted to start the season with him before everything sort of transpired. Playing really well, came off a 90-something performance last week against who'd they take on? The Bulldogs. I think he could be the perfect sort of 5/8 position player, I suppose. Dill Brown, better performance this week, but still not going great. Again, maybe Cameron Munster's just set and forget, put him in there and just ride the season. Really good option at 5/8, especially if you want to get the jump on early and be a bit different. The last of our players in our pod series for round 7 is Dallin Ortene-Zelezniak. Again, stats up on screen, but I'll read through what I've said. Even in the game that the Warriors did it tough, DWZ scored 91 points against the Seagulls. With CNK back and a soft draw upcoming, it reads very well for multiple 100-point games over the next 5 weeks. And at only 3% owned, picking him up now could be the perfect move to move you up the rankings and win your head-to-head matchups. The best part, you'll be locking in a set-and-forget keeper in your centre wing only a quarter of the way through the season. With Bostock now peaked in price, DWZ could be your ticket to fortune. Again, everything I've said runs true. I don't need to say too much more about DWZ. That's why I write these for you guys tuning in on Instagram. There's just a bit more information and then, the stats that are part of the post. So I'm not going to spend any more time on these point of difference players. But once again, if you aren't following the Instagram, head over there. There's going to be more content like this upcoming. And I want you guys to tell me what content that you guys want to see, and we will try and make that happen because I do need to post a lot more to the Instagram. I'm just struggling to sort of find what exactly will fit my niche the best. But right now, I'm really happy with how these pod players are going. And just the design of my podcast, of these posts in general. So show them some love, send me some messages, drop some comments. Maybe we can look forward and do a point of difference player that you guys decide yourselves, and you can send that through, and we can work through some content there. So show these some love, follow the Instagram. But we'll get back to the rest of the buys and the rest of the trade talks for this season. For this week, I should say. So personally, for myself, let's just look at the most traded in general. So most traded in this week, Kayal Iro traded in by 19.9% of players. Fair enough. Negative 76 break even. He's 219k. He's essentially bottom dollar. He's scoring well, 46 in pure base last week and 90 something the week before that. It's a trade in. It's the best trade in target. You don't have to do it if you're pretty happy with your cash generation. Like, look, I'm sitting here with essentially Schiller, Strange, and Talangi, who are bottom dollar cheapies, and they're all sitting in there. But I want to ride this Kayal Iro train, not just for the money, but for the points. I think he's a genuine play option if he retains that position. There's a little bit of risk involved, but personally, I'm going to take that risk. I don't want Blaze Talangi named off the bench, so I'm going to trade him out to, as we just mentioned, Kayal Iro. Come into the white. There we go. Come in. Make me a little bit of cash there. Kayal Iro is into the side. Now, what else have we got down here? Angus Crichton is the second most traded in player. Well, would you look at that? I'm trading in Angus Crichton, guys. I mean, I was going to do it last week. I backflipped. I regret it, but he's coming in now. So I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary. Jack DeBellin will move to my front row, and I will bring in around 6 points. He scored 79, I believe it was 79, 459k. Angus Crichton comes into my second row. And those are my 2 trades this week, guys. Nothing out of the ordinary. We've just gone through and set our pod plays. I haven't followed any pod plays this week, but keep in mind last week I did get on Jack DeBellin as a pod, and also I brought in Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad. Now with Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad, as I said, I would have included him in the best buys for pods this week as well, but you need an option to trade into. And if you are sitting pretty with your fullbacks, you're not trading anyone out. I had the luxury fortune, whatever you want to call it, of Tedesco going down injured, so I was forced to make that trade. I've jumped on Nicoll-Klokstad. So there's my pods. Last week I went hard on them. This week, you can call it following the crowd. I wouldn't call it following the crowd. It's doing it for a reason. Like, if you're not following this to be different, you might be setting yourself behind. Getting on Kayal Iro and getting on Angus Crichton, I think almost must-haves. Maybe not must-haves, but I think they're really good options, especially at their price point. So they're the two trades this week. Nothing out of the ordinary, just bolstering the side. I'm really happy with the rest of the side. I think I've got a great mixture of guns and pods and mid-rangers and money-making. I'm really happy with how the side's set up, and we're going to move, forward with that. Looking a bit more in the traded in section, Tamari Martin is the next most traded in. Now, you guys would know if you watched last week, I did a lot of edging, a lot of alluding to a pod option that I was going to talk about, a pod option that my girlfriend was also quite keen on. That player was, in fact, Tamari Martin. She ended up picking him up last week, which is why I was talking about this. I think it's a really good play. I didn't include him in my pod list this week. A couple of reasons. I didn't want too many Warriors. That would have been my third Warrior in 2 weeks in my posts. And the other being, a lot of people have jumped on it, so it's not that different. He's still a pod for sure, I believe. What's his ownership? 5% of teams. So definitely still a pod option. But so many people are jumping on it. I don't hate it. You're making good money. He scored 72 last week and almost 100 the week before, 90-something. He's 363K, good money incoming, minus 59 break even. So yeah, massive money incoming. He's fullback eligible as well if you ever need to put him in fullback. I'm not going to do it because it's just another trade. I'm happy with Dill Brown and Lachlan Galvin in there, but I can see why people are bringing him in, and I can see why my girlfriend brought him in last week. As I said, he was going to make the pods post this week. But regardless, yeah, he's the third most traded in player not in my team. Bronson Xerri is up next. As I said, 345K. I like him as a trade-in option. If you're moving someone like Jack Bostock to him, you're making money for someone who's going to make more money, and potentially a play option. Played really well last week with an 87 score. So there's options there. I like him as a trade-in. I'm not doing it because I'd have to boost for it this week. I'm happy with the Kayal Iro trade and the Angus Crichton trade, and I don't want to boost for someone like Bronson Xerri. But if you're in a position that you can bring him in within your normal trades and not boost for it, I like it. I'm not sure if I was in anyone's position if I'd boost for someone like Bronson Xerri, because there's still a bit of uncertainty around him. We don't know how he's going to score. Yeah, he played really well last week. Is that going to happen? Is he going to be on the side for too much longer? It's all just a bit of a wait and see with that Bulldogs side. But regardless, he's not a bad trade-in target this week. Joey Manu is next. Don't like it. 760K back in the centres. Tough run to come. I really don't see it. I understand if you got on him last week for that game at fullback and you did well, you profited off it, he made money and he scored 117. He's doing well. I don't like his draw to come. I don't like him out in the centres. And people who say, yeah, but if you buy him now, you can hold him for the origin period where he'll play fullback. I'm not 100% convinced James Tedesco gets picked at fullback. And if you're buying Joseph Manu now, like for their tough run, in the hopes he's going to be the fullback and score hundreds through that origin period, you might be shit out of luck. Because if Teddy doesn't get picked for origin, Manu's playing center again. And yeah, look, he's still a decent option to have in your playing center wing for the origin period. But at 760K, I don't see that as a good trade-in target. I do not like the Joey Manu target. If you're doing it, go at your own volition. But know that I've advised against it. Not for me is Joey Manu. Sean Johnson, interesting in there again as one of the most traded in. I don't hate it. Again, Warriors are playing really well. He came off a 95 last week. He scored 3 tries in his last 2 games and is only probably averaging just a bit over 100. I don't really like it. I don't hate it. Warriors have a good run. Johnson's playing incredible footy. And he could just keep scoring these, but he does have to do a lot to score. He is priced about 100K less than Nathan Cleary, and Cleary's out for another week, so you could just jump on early onto Sean Johnson. But again, not really for me. But it's if you do it, it's a pod shout, and I don't hate it. I mean, I'm Sean Johnson's biggest fan in the world, have been since day dot. So I'm never going to shit talk him too much. But yeah, not for me. Zach Lomax is the other most traded in. Don't like that. He's on the back in the centres this week, I should say. Not sure how his point scoring goes in the centres. We just got to be quite wary of that, guys. So don't expect him to be hitting the points he's been doing on the wing in the centres. He might, but, you know, there's a bit of caution there. And at 755K, yeah, a bit worrying. Looking at the most traded out, not in my team. In my team, Jack Bostock. A lot of players selling him. That's a really good shout. He's probably peaked in price. You could keep him for one more week. But yeah, I don't mind selling him this week. I'll keep him for one just because of my other trade options this week. But yeah, Jack Bostock, I like him as a sell. Luke Brooks is being sold this week. I'm not the biggest fan of it because he comes up against the Titans and he could go really well. And also, like, who are you trading him to? Sean Johnson? Sure. But surely you just wait a week and let him, you know, kill it against the Titans. In saying that, I guess Sean's got a 23 break even, so it could be the time to jump on Sean Johnson. Regardless, Luke Brooks, not for me. Joe Chan, people selling him. I don't understand that. He's literally just been named and making money. But regardless from that, that's sort of the trade talks out of the way. As you can see, yeah, as you guys know, Kayal Iro, he has come in for me, and as has Angus Crichton. So we'll move into our sit v start options. Now, mainly talking about my team here, I can't look at everybody's side and decide who's the best players for your squad. But if you're in a similar boat to me and you have similar players to me, then this can be quite a help to you. Now, based on these upcoming matchups, I am quite happy to sit. I'm quite happy to play Kayal Iro against the Cowboys, not necessarily because the Cowboys are a bad team, but because Kayal Iro is basing fantastically. The Sharks are playing some decent footy. He can find some attacking stats. He can score well. So I'm going to play Kayal Iro, obviously playing Ramey and Holmes and Tui Vasashek. They're my guns. I'm not going to play Jack Bostock against the Eels, I don't think. He could find attacking stats, but if he doesn't, he's going quite low. So I think I'm going to slap a reserve on Beau Fermor. Titans, who have they got? Manly. Am I quite confident in 71? No. I'm going to slap it on Morgan Smithies instead because Fermor played 90 minutes and scored 71. Smithies played 75 or 80 minutes and scored 3 less points. So Morgan Smithies, he'll get a reserve for me. If you're in the same boat, I'd go Smithies over Fermor. But hey, Titans could be coming good and Fermor could find attacking stats potential. Not for me. Joey Lussick, also not going to get a play. He scored a try. Cool. Not going to play him again this week. Luke Brooks, 100% playing him against the Titans. Really happy for that matchup. And I'm really happy that Cleary isn't playing, so I didn't have to, go early on that Luke Brooks trade. So the last one comes down to, I guess, my center wing options. Chance Klukstad, obviously. Chance, you're going to get a start this week, and we'll get to that. But who am I playing out of my center wings as my last reserve? Now, I could throw one of these reserves on Beau Fermor and just go base. It's not a bad shout. I'm tempted to do it. The other option is I go for one center wing here and I go for whoever I think is going to score the most points. Now, the problem with the Raiders is that they're up against the Broncos. James Schiller scored 2 tries last week and only scored 69. Not ideal. Ethan Strange has been on a tear, 83 and 90-something in his last 2 games. But again, can he do it against the Broncos? I'm not so sure. Jack Bostock, not been on that much of a tear. He's scoring like 50s, 60s with tries, and they come up against the Eels, who seem to be a bit rejuvenated. Decent side regardless. Do I want to play Jack Bostock? Not sure. So do I want to play any of these? Do I want to run that risk and hope one of them finds attacking stats? Potentially. I've got enough base in my other players. Do I want to play Galvin, who has been playing some really good footy? Maybe not. Maybe. He's against the Panthers, so maybe not for me. I'm going to be safe. It's a bit boring. I think I'm going to slap the last reserve on Beau Fermor. Oh, no, he's been scoring 4. It's tough. No, let's go for attacking upside. Let's go Jack Bostock. I've just slandered him, and after all that, he's getting my last reserve. Look, I don't really like it against the Eels, but I think Trey Fullery, he's got a bit of ball playing about him. If they sweep to that left-hand edge, they could find Bostock and he could cross for a try and he could score points. Beau Fermor, based really well last week, and he scored 71 the week before that as well, I think. Yeah, double 71. Yep. But again, he played 90 minutes last week, and the week before that he had a try and a line break assist and still only scored 71. So he could literally be scoring 40s as a second rower. And if you're scoring 40s in base, sure, but why not go for a little bit of upside and go for someone like Jack Bostock? So that's what I'm going to do this week. If you're in a similar boat, that's the way I lean. Go for a bit of upside, but go for the player that you back in your gut. If you back Ethan Strange, if you back James Schiller, if you're in my boat, go for one of them. I'm just going to say Jack Bostock matchup-wise, I like that a little bit better than the two Raiders boys against the Broncos. So we'll move into, is it my captain options now? It is indeed. So essentially every game this year, except for last week, I'm pretty sure, I've looped. Maybe that's not the case. I think week one, maybe I took my captain score as well instead of a loop. But I've been looping a lot, and that's because there have been a lot of good early matchups that I can gravitate towards. This week, not so much. Roosters and Storm, two good sides, two teams with a lot of captain options, a lot of great players. But they verse each other. Is there going to be that many attacking stats? Who really knows? I need to make sure this is still recording. Indeed, it is. My hair looks awful. We move on. So I'm not gravitating towards any Roosters or Storm players. Not that I own many anymore. Don't have Teddy Tedesco. Don't have him anymore, so not captaining him. Don't own Pappenhausen, not captaining him. Not owning a Munster. Munster could be good. We've just talked about how he gets up for the big games. So a VC on Munster, if you own him, is good, but he's very low owned, so I can't imagine too many people watching this own Cameron Munster. Dragons and Warriors. That is a really good game matchup-wise for captains. Now, if you have Sean Johnson, definitely worth a VC on there, or you could even straight captain him, but there are better options coming later in the round. For me, owning Charles Nicoll-Klokstad, let's spoil it. I'm going to straight captain for the first time this season a player playing in the early rounds. I think Charles Nicoll-Klokstad against the Dragons is going to put on a show. He scored about 145 against them last year at this same venue. I see them putting on a clinic. They're going to want to bounce back. I know they got the draw. It wasn't that bad of a performance, but they're going to want to bounce back from their performance against Manly. I think they come up with a big one here. They could put the Dragons away quite extensively, and Chance is going to be the catalyst for that. A lot of sweeping plays out the back. If you own a Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, if you jump on him as a pod, definitely worth a VC or a captain as well. I'd VC him just to be safe. But Chance Nicoll-Klokstad, he has really good base, so he can't go too low, and I think he comes with some attacking stats. I mean, 96 last week, 88 the week before that, and no tries in those games, so who knows? Charles Nicoll-Klokstad, he's my captain this week, but we'll keep going through just in case you guys have some other options. Parramatta Dolphins, not really any options there. We skip over that. Panthers Tigers, not really any options there. If you own Dylan Edwards, like my girlfriend does, because she is a better Supercoach player than me, Dylan Edwards is a really good shout. I think Panthers get a good win here coming off the bye. Dylan Edwards is their goal kicker. I'm pretty sure he's scoring the most points of anyone in Supercoach this season. So Dylan Edwards, I really like that. But again, not many people own him, so we'll gloss over that. But yeah, Dylan Edwards, definitely a good captain option. The big one is, of course, going to be Tom Trbojevic against the Titans. Now, as a non-Tom Trbojevic owner, I am terrified of that game. I'm going to be watching it behind my chair. I think it's the best option this week. I would be putting a C on him. And if you own a Warriors or a Roosters or a Storm player, put a VC on them. But yeah, Tom Trbojevic, best option this week, in my opinion. Even a Daly Cherry Evans or a Ruben Garrick, they're good little pod shouts there too. Broncos, Raiders, not anyone I'd be looking at. If you own Reece Walsh, potentially, but not for me. Bulldogs, Knights. Definitely Kalen Ponga is a good captain shout. I own Kalen Ponga, so I could do it. I just don't think the Bulldogs are the pushover that we expected them to be. I also am hearing stuff that Kalen Ponga might not be goal kicking because of the hip pointer injury. And that, takes his scores down a little bit as well. So I'm gravitating away from that one. But it's an option. It's definitely not a bad option. It's a decent matchup, and we know KP is a proven gun. Lastly, Sharks, Cowboys. You could go Nico Hines. Nothing's wrong with going Nico Hines for the last game of the season, of the round. He scores well even when he's not playing well. And if you own Scott Drinkwater, also another option there. The Sharks can concede points, so Scotty Drinkwater is an option. Even Valentine Holmes is an option. I own Val, I own Hines. I could put the captain on them, but I'm going straight on my gut. Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad. Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad is my captain. Set and forget, that's what I'm doing. So that one actually wraps us up. Once again, thank you guys for tuning into these. This has been getting a lot of love, a lot of support on the YouTube especially, which I really appreciate, guys. I am truly grateful for all of you tuning in. And once again, if you're not following the Instagram, please go and do so. Interact with me, message me. We're getting a lot more traction there, a lot more of you reaching out, and I appreciate it so much. I really love just talking to you guys and giving my advice and hearing how you guys are doing. It's awesome. I love interacting with you guys. So if you're not following me on there, please go and do so. Again, there's got to be more content for you guys to engage with, a lot more Supercoach stuff. And you can comment on these videos, comment on the YouTube, message me on the Instagram, comment on the post, whatever you want to do. But if you want to ask a few questions, ask away. I'm all for it, guys. But yeah, that one will wrap us up. So we'll be back again next week for our next Supercoach content. In between then, of course, we'll have all of our previews coming up over the next few days. But once again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.